Assalamu alaikum everyone, welcome back to PEPE Update today. Just want to give a very quick shout out to DXRP and SPX 6969 who are the sponsors of this video. Right now, DXRP sitting at 0.15 and still half the price of what it's going to get listed at, which is 0.35 I guess. So you still have a little bit of a chance to get in early. Very soon in Q4 they're probably going to actually release. Link is in the description if you want to get into that, but PEPE today is pretty much at the sideways. My vision hasn't changed, and there was a small temporary pump yesterday on the 5 minutes time frame. I think it was a bull run on the 1 minute, and people started thinking that everything has changed. I think this is the pump that we saw just a little bit. How much was this, by the way? This was 5.5% pump. Okay, so when you look at, like, a lot of people trade at 1 minute, honestly, and probably newbies, a lot of newbies are going to actually trade at this. So when they look at particularly this thing right here, I want to tell you something. This is noise, okay? This is noise, and this is noise pollution, basically. So we don't like noise pollution. This is just my own definition of noise pollution in cryptocurrency. The reason I say noise pollution is so that you kind of understand the gist that I'm actually pointing at. And this was also a noise pollution back right here. This is noise pollution in here again. And basically it's just an unmeaningful sort of like pump and dump sideways. So tell me, who traded this? Who took this trade? I don't even, if thousands of people watch my videos, I don't even think one person got this trade right. Nobody. Well, it's a different story if you just bought and hold it a long time ago, but I don't think trading wise, I don't think you'd really plan for that, because this was super random, absolutely random. More like okay, I'm just gonna pump, take stop losses. That's it, small time frame manipulation. So the time frame that I talked about previously was, I think the daily time frame is what I was actually looking at in the past videos. Now, if the daily actually pumps and it comes up to 1486, that is more like a big deal. And I told you, you could even do that and still fall down. You could still do 1486 and then go down. Why am I saying that? The reason I'm saying it is because this is still your trend line as you move and move and move and move and move up here. Now let's say in the future, maybe by October, you try to go up again to 1481, take that stop loss 1570, and then finally actually drop down. You will still be under your resistance line here. However, I told you that if you actually break above and you retest and you go and you start to do something like that's a very good positive movement. And I'm always going to tell you if it's going to be positive or not. Right now, you're still under the water. That's it. Yeah, yesterday you were at the bottom. You try to climb a little bit, right? So let's say there's a swimmer and this is the surf, like this is the absolute top of like the sea level, right? And then you have the water down here, and then you got the person who is actually laying at the very bottom of the ocean. All you did is actually swim a little bit higher and still drowning and drowning and drowning. You're still trying to get above the surface. Is trying to get back on earth, right? Like at the shore of the river, but it's not actually finding it. You're under deep waters. That's just what PEPE is doing right now. So in fact, you could still continue on and pump up to maybe 1296, 1300. It will still get a lot of people bullish. But all I want to say is that you could do where this is your first retest, and then you got a second retest, and then finally go to the downside. I've seen scenarios like this over and over again, and that's why I'm telling you that nothing has changed. The story is still the same. And there's one last thing that I actually want to show you, and that is going to be SPX. So SPX is climbing for so many days right now. It has been moving really high. Look at SPX right now. So if you don't know what SPX is and you're going to be confused, what is SPX doing in PEPE Update? Well, basically this is the grandfather of all the coins out there, because it is the father of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the father of Ethereum. Ethereum is the father of altcoin, mid caps and whatnot. And then you have like a high cap meme coin like PEPE down the food chain. It actually depends on what SPX does. Okay, so SPX is like the ultimate needle mover. 5% of SPX is gonna be maybe 30-40% of PEPE. Okay, now the thing is, The reason I'm telling you about SPX is that you have a huge divergence being created right now, and you can see there's like a very small divergence going on. You have all these prices moving really high, and you also have this divergence right over here, and I'm scared about it. I'm really scared, I'm not gonna lie, because divergences like this are not gonna be good. Somewhere down the road I do see this actually coming down, and not just coming down but big time, and September is probably perfect time to do it. If it doesn't happen in this month, maybe next month. And also Ethereum, at least you guys know what Ethereum is, so we're gonna actually talk about Ethereum. And if you look at Ethereum, my goodness, this is still huge move down, huge move to the upside. What are you gonna make about this bearish divergence as well? That is a huge bearish divergence. We could still see a tumble down to maybe 3200 as well with Ethereum. So yeah, patterns are being made, by bearish divergences on the daily are being made, and the problem here is that if you have huge problems on the daily time frame is so, like, it is a high time frame, right? You have weekly and daily. So the movement of the daily are going to be like massive big move when you look at it on the 1 minute, 5 minute, right, 15 minutes. So you on the daily, it could actually be a very small dump like that. When you move down to lower time frame, you're gonna actually see it's 5 times bigger on the 5 minutes time frame, like almost like a crash happening in the market. But then again, crashes are still beautiful in their own way. Crashes offer you opportunity to buy at cheap prices, and I do plan to buy at cheap prices, and I also plan to tell you when I'm gonna buy at cheap prices. So do make sure you are on Discord. If you're not on Discord, message me on Twitter. I'm gonna give you an invitation link. So that's it for the video, and I'm going to see you the next one. Love is.